Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling, and appreciate you guys swinging by the channel to spend some time with me. And I just got off the water here at Table Rock, guys, and it just amazes me. It's like I fish Table Rock a lot. I mean, as much as anybody I know. I'm down here all the time, and it amazes me how like every trip that I go to the lake and every trip that I have been going to the lake over the past 5 years, the non-stop, incessant development that's going on along the shorelines of Table Rock Lake. It's like there's every single time I come down, I don't care what day it is, you know, how close they're spaced together. If I'm in a different part of the lake, there's new signs of freaking bulldozers on hillsides, hearing bulldozers knocking trees down, which is affecting the lake negatively. And I want to talk about that in today's video, about how the water quality and the fishing quality in Table Rock Lake has been deteriorating as a direct result of this overdevelopment. And it's not just here on Table Rock, guys. I can promise you it's going on in your lake too. And this is a serious problem we need to talk about and address. So we're going to get into that in today's episode here. Also, guys, real quick before we get started, just a quick reminder, anyone interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, guys, if you're interested, go to my Facebook page, Intuitive Angling with Randy Blaukat. I changed it from professional angler Randy Blaukat to Intuitive Angling with Randy Blaukat. Shoot me a private message. I'll get you the details with that. And also, guys, Tackle Warehouse has got some really good spring fishing sales going on right now. If you're like to take advantage of that, I got my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video. That's a great way to support Intuitive Angling if you just use and bookmark my Tackle Warehouse link for all your tackle purchases. Thank you very much from me and my family, for everybody that's been doing that, because we get, I know a lot of you guys comment to me that, hey man, I just bought a rod and reel using your link. Thank you very much for that. Really appreciate that, guys. Okay, I've done videos on this on and off over the past couple of years, and I'm going to continue doing it here, guys, because it's a nonstop problem. I'm not just going to do one video on it and forget about it when the problem is really being exacerbated every single time. Okay, now let me back up a little bit here. I've been fishing Table Rock since I was a little kid, since the 1960s. And back in the 60s and the 70s, and for a large part during the early 80s, there was basically no development on the lake. The hillsides were pristine. There were very few docks on the lake. The only docks were like those couple of those mom and pop resort docks, but there wasn't the residential docks or the big condo docks that you're getting to see pop up everywhere now. And that's what attracted people here to the Missouri Ozarks. You know, part of the attraction of the Missouri Ozarks here is the pristine beauty of the Ozark Mountains, which is rapidly disappearing through development. And Table Rock, if you look at it now versus what it looked like 30 years ago, it is freaking unrecognizable in as far as the loss of the purity of just that pristine feel that it used to have. Okay, now here is a couple different problems with it. Let's talk about, let's talk about one of the practical problems that if a lot of people can't comprehend, or they say, oh, Randy, you're full of it. You know, you had to knock down trees to build your house, whatever, you're gaslighting the situation here. Let's talk about the practical problems. When you start having this massive increase in shoreline development, there's a cost that comes with that. And the cost is the pollution that runs into the lake as a result of residential development. Now, this is evident on Table Rock Lake, because if you guys have fished the lake as long as I have, you know that Table Rock Lake has lost so much of its overall water clarity. Table Rock Lake used to be a gin clear lake in a lot of different areas of it, and it stayed like that throughout much of the year. We have lost basically half. We've got about half of the water clarity in 2026 on the lake as we did, 30 years ago on the lake. And not most of it, all of it is due from the residential development. It's all of everything that comes off the construction and the lawns, fertilizers, the nitrogen, all that type of stuff, the septic and the sewer, all of that stuff goes into Table Rock Lake. It's washed downhill. There's erosion that occurs with it. Like the picture that I showed you guys in the thumbnail here, these guys go in and they rip out all the trees, causing erosion down to the lake. As a result, you lose your water quality. You have a nutrient overload in the lake, and we have more moss in the lake, more of that nasty algae-looking moss in Table Rock Lake than there's ever been. It didn't used to be in the lake like that. It only came about, and it's getting worse with the freaking residential development of it. And this is not just isolated to Table Rock. It's like I said, it's in your part of the country too. And aside from the pollution part of it that goes into the lake, there's an aesthetic part of it. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. It's like, we have got to leave something untouched. It's like, just because you can do it doesn't mean it's right to do it. A lot of people say, well, by God, I bought the land, I'm going to do what I want to with it. That is the shortest sighted vision I've ever seen. Now, a lot of this is perpetuated by the combination of the zoning and planning commissions and the real estate developers, which are basically in bed together. They are all over the country. If you follow the money, guys, you look at how real estate developers grease the palms of these zoning and planning commissions to pass permits against the public outrage. I've seen it firsthand. I've been in those meetings before. They don't give a crap about the public outrage or opposition. They're going to let their buddies that grease their palms get their way with that development. That's what we have going on here. That's why it's unchecked. The development around this entire country is unchecked. There may be some isolated exceptions to that rule, but not very often. That's why you see the freaking hillsides being ripped off of the top of the Ozark Mountains here in Table Rock Lake by freaking D9 caterpillars on top of every one of them. You can't go back into a creek or a hollow here, guys, back in Table Rock Lake without hearing a freaking bulldozer grinding rock and knocking trees down. It's going on everywhere. It's freaking disgusting. So anyway, we're losing the natural aesthetic beauty of Table Rock Lake, in addition to polluting the lake and losing the water quality because of these freaking developers and the fact that the zoning and planning commissions just give a carte blanche permit grant to anyone that wants to develop. Again, there may be exceptions to the rule. I don't see it because it's going on everywhere around the lake. So what do you do about it? What can be done about this? And this is the problem that we have, because this is a prime example about how man destroys everything they touch through their ignorance and their greed. If we had people of responsibility in positions of power, you would have to come down here to Table Rock Lake and say, the value of this lake and the value of this area lies in the aesthetic beauty of it. We're not going to let you come in here and rip a hillside off of one of these Ozark mountains so you can build a $5,000, weekend getaway house for somebody that doesn't even live in the state of Missouri. That's what's going on here, guys. You got these multi-million-dollar homes that basically people go to once or twice a year from out of state. And then you've got these developers that are putting in all these big, massive condo complexes, and with the condo complexes come these big, giant condo docks that are on the lake. It's freaking making me sick of what's Table Rock Lake's turning into, and it's the same everywhere in the country. It's like that. And that's ultimately the problem that we have, is we have such a pro-growth mentality in this country, but it's not growth. It's actually destruction. It's a short-term growth. In the long term, it's destructive to our environment and our planet by doing this. But until you get people in authority and positions of power that have the ability to legislate and say, you're not going to do that. If you want to put a house or something in here, we're going to put it in a less sensitive area where it doesn't affect the aesthetic beauty of the lake. We're not going to allow you to do that in here. We're not going to give this residential zoning permit into an area that needs to be left pristine and untouched. And it all goes back to the concept that not a lot of people, I think most people can grasp it, but there's the powerful minority can't grasp this, is you've got to leave something, guys. It's like you can't continue this unchecked development that we have right now. It's going on everywhere. It's not just here at Table Rock. I've talked about it here in Springfield, Missouri, where I live. It's this constant urban and suburban sprawl that goes on while, like, the interior of cities just decay. They don't do anything to it because these developers want cheap land. So that's why they keep expanding outward and outward and outward. And they gobble up wildlife habitat as a result, while the inner cities and the interior part of most cities across the country continue to rot and deteriorate. It's freaking stupid. So until we get people that, have that authority to grant permits or, pass legislation to not allow this to go on, it's never going to change. And I'm not real optimistic in it, guys. I'm really not. I have seen the corruptness of the power structure in this country when it comes to legislation and when it comes to what money does and how money influences, people in positions of power. And we have got a situation in this country, and I'm talking specifically about the overdevelopment, where the power has been concentrated into such a small few that you can't hardly break out of it. Because, when you have all this money, some people that have these incredible sums of money, they influence the legislation. They influence policy on a local zoning and planning commission board. They influence policy on a state and federal level through money. It's not through the public, will, because it's not. I've seen it, guys. I've seen the overwhelming outrage that the public has against some of these projects that just get dismissed, and the developers just get their way. I've seen it over and over and over again. So basically, we, just like one of the Indian shamans that I got a lot of respect for, says, we become a society that are killing our grandchildren to feed our children. And basically what he's saying is that we become a society that is so focused on here and now that we've lost our vision for what our actions are going to do to the future. And we are going to look back, guys, in another 50 or 100 years from now, these developers are going to look back they're going to be looked back and seen as some of the biggest villains in the history of this country for what they've done and what they're doing to this planet. You got to have some type of a balance. You got to have some type of a balance between environmental sustainability and aesthetics and growth. And right now, there's no balance. It's tipped completely in the side of growth. To hell with the aesthetics and to hell with the environmental sustainability. These guys don't give a crap. They don't. I've talked to them, guys. I have talked to these real estate developers, and their brains are wired different. They don't have the ability to look into the future. It's all about how much money they can make, how much money they can put into their pocket, how big they can grow their business. I've seen them. It's like a mental illness almost to some extent. So I'm just sick about it, guys. I know a lot of y'all too. If you're one of the dudes out there that are seeing your wildlife habitat and all your deer woods and your turkey woods getting gobbled up to real estate development, or you've been on a lake and you've seen all the freaking development that's causing all the nutrient overloads on your lake and you're losing all the beauty of the natural surroundings, you guys know what I'm talking about. We have the power. The people have the power here, but you have got to take it away from the powerful minority that have consolidated power to do this type of stuff. So I don't know, guys. All I know is if I was in charge, it'd be a lot different. If I was in charge of Table Rock Lake and the zoning and planning, this lake would look like it did back in 1968. And people would be able to say, God, Table Rock Lake is an absolutely beautiful place to do. It's undeveloped, it's natural, it's pristine. That's what we need. You have to have that, guys. Why do you think that in every town across the country, you know what some of the most popular places are in any town or any city? It's the parks. You know what it is? Because the parks, even though they're sort of a sterile natural environment, at least it offers some type of a connection to nature. And people need that. They gravitate to that. It's healing. It's therapeutic. And if you don't think that it's more valuable to leave a pristine wilderness area like here on the White River at Table Rock Lake undisturbed instead of putting freaking multi-million-dollar homes up for some freaking, tech bro in California that comes here once a year to stay in his $5 million mansion, then I think you got your priorities sort of messed up with that. But anyway, guys, just wanted to pass that along. I think a lot of you guys can probably, get what I'm saying. A lot of you guys can't probably get it. But let me know what you guys think about it. We'll check in later.